Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways. My name's Big Six Simpson and we got the hot to trot Haval H6 this week. I've been seeing them all over the place. Let's see how it does on a little gravel section. This has got over 200 mils of ground clearance. I took it to Pampunfontein by Beverlak on the weekend and it really did well. I was a little concerned about the low profile tyres, but they performed admirably. It's only a ground clearance on here. They got a 225 by 60 on an 18-inch rim. So quite a nice big tyre. Soaks up the bumps. I do find that when it gets really bumpy, the front wheel tends to bump the front mudguard a bit, so they should just refine that a wee bit. But in terms of traction, it's all on point, and this camera is really class leading for this price range. You're not going to get a much better camera than this. And the gear lever is different. It's a round knobby. It's almost like a mouse sort of joystick type thing. This car has got all the tech, most of which I've turned off because I'm not really big into tech, but if you are into it, it's got the radar guided cruise control, which I find is quite a little bit oversensitive, and then it's got the lane assist and all the tech, but I just prefer the bare bones. And what they have got right is they've got a great engine in here, the 2-litre turbo. This thing is incredibly powerful. They put the same engine here in the H9 and tune it up to 180 kilowatts. This is on paper 150 kilowatts with a top speed of 180, but I can tell you that it can do over 200, and you're looking at about 0 to 100 of 8 seconds, which puts it into the category of one of the fastest mid-size SUVs in the world. It's definitely faster than a Rav4 or a Nissan X-trail or any of those things. I think the only Japanese car that could come close to it is the 2.5 turbo CX-5, which I don't think we see in South Africa, and the Forester is a 2.5 non-turbo. So let's dig it in and I'll show you. Oh, it really is quick. This car's only got 1,000 Ks on it, so when I started, the brakes were a little bit soft, but with a bit of big six handling, they're right on point. Look at that. Brakes to a charm. The spare wheel is a 17-inch rim. It's the alpha mark. This is where this thing really shines, and it's proper quick. It is proper quick. Yeah, as I said, I found a closed road in the middle of nowhere and got it up to 201 kilometers an hour. So this thing is properly express. And they've got the lemon chassis on here. I don't know why they call it lemon, but that's what they call it. The Chinese sometimes like to do it their own way. And they shed a lot of weight with it. It's only 1,600 kilos, so it really is not a heavy car at all, and you can feel it through the corners. It really handles with aplomb. And then you got different modes here. At the moment, what have we got it on? We've got it on normal mode, and then you get off-road and sport. Let's get sport to try. It really is symphonic, this car. It's nice to see a car that's like a krach. It's ready to go. Ready to go, the new Haval H6. I like the buttons, feel well made. Oh, I'm missing out the off-road track. Anyway, let's give it a go down here. Sports mode now. That turbo is singing. It is proper like a chopper. Yeah, let's see how it does on the old quartering. Got Grandad in front of me. You can stiffen the steering wheel up as well. So at the moment it's on sport, and let's put it onto sand mode. So we've got a little bit of off-road here on the left. Let's give it a little Another thing, while I'm at it, the windscreen wipers are extremely good on this. It pretty much got rid of all the muchies from my long trip. Quite a loud indicator. So now we got it on sand mode. Let's see if we can get up this little puppy. No problem. See, now on gravel, it quite soft suspension, handles the bumps with a plum. No dramas. A friend of mine it always goes on about the Haval H6 suspension, but this suspension is pretty good in its own right. And then if you want, you could just go full. You don't even have to stay on the road. It really is quite impressive, this car. Handling the bumps with a plum. So yeah, I got to Pumpunfontein without dramas. One thing I had was I came around a sharp corner, I hit the brakes, and I got a little bit of dust in between the brake calipers that was making a bit of a screeching sound, but a couple of k's down the road that was all out, and Haval is going as strong as ever. So this is coming in at 460,000 Rand, which is a lot cheaper than is 100,000 Rand at least cheaper than a Rav4 and an X-trail and all the Japanese competition. I have noticed the price differential is getting closer. It's almost like the Japanese cars are having to drop their price to keep up with these cars. But in terms of long-term reliability and build quality, it's difficult to look past the Toyota. Here's a nice little piece of gravel. Oh, she's a bit of a goer. She's definitely a bit of a goer. And on gravel, it's handy. You've got a monitor for your tire pressure levels. Here's a little gnarly section. Let's see if we can get through here. This doesn't have a center diff, but in off-road mode, it does the business. You've also got an eco mode that dumbs everything down and makes it quite economical. So it can be a boy racer or a sedate car, but I prefer the boy racer part. There you go. Beautiful. Goes like stink. I really love that turbo sound. So basically, the top of the range Rav4 is going to be about 580, and this is about 450 for the 460 for the top range. So it's at least 100k difference. In terms of performance, this is better. In terms of build quality, the Toyota has got a longer reputation. I do have a friend who's got a Steed 5, which is a Great Mall Motors Bucky that's about 10 years old. And giving him some issues. So the jury is still out on long-term build quality, but it feels really well made, I must say. And it's got everything you need: power, luxury. It's got a nice LCD screen here with a good hi-fi. The one thing I must say is it's got 4 USB charging points, but it doesn't accept my music on I tried 2 USBs and then it wouldn't accept the music on either of them, which is a little bit irritating. And then you got this lovely sunroof. So it really does have all the luxury touches. Beautiful. And it automatically closes itself if you're going too fast. Yeah, brakes are on point. Let's get some of that engine noise. Really is a symphony of sound. The new Haval H6. So I use the Rav4 as kind of the benchmark for compact for mid-size SUVs, so that was one of the first ones. Then you got your Nissan X-trail, which is a good seller as well. They got the 1.6 diesel and the 2.5 petrol. I drive a 2.5 petrol, and I think top speed they're similar, but getting there, this is a lot quicker. That turbo really comes to the party. And then you've got your Hyundai Tucson, which is similar to a Nissan X-trail, and Kia. I think those are all non-turbocharged petrol, so you're not going to get the same performance out of those. So the only car that can really hang with us on performance is an Audi or a Merc or something like that, which is pushing twice the price. I just love the sound of that turbo. Goes all day long. In terms of boot capacity, plenty of space there, good leg room in the back. Well laid out. I like the center console thing, good for putting your phone there and whatnot. 2 drinks holders, which is always handy. Electric handbrake, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's the way most of these modern cars are going. My favorite part of this car is the performance, and it looks good as well. It has been turning quite a few heads, I must say. I'd like to think that's just me, but we all know that's not true. Color is also good. Like the tire pressure monitor, which comes in handy off-road. No GPS, but you can use your Apple CarPlay. And stitching, nice. Flappers noticed that they've gone for white stitching here instead of red, which is nice to see a change. Doesn't feel too bad. Feel too bad at all. Quality wise, that feels good. This feels like it's taken off a German SUV. This feels like Mercedes-ish. So they really are. They're looking at the right brands. What else is on this thing? Still working on how everything works. Yeah.
Up in just a sec.
So there you go, a black legend, and this car's turning into a bit of a legend. I've been seeing a lot of them on the roads, and for good reason. You can get Audi performance at half the price, and Audis aren't even that reliable anyway, so you haven't really lost anything. What I would like to see is what's the resale value going to be like this in 5 years time, and what's it going to look like in 10 years time. If it's still running well, like a 10-year-old X-trail or a Rav4 or something like that, or a Honda CR-V, then this is really going to take a massive chunk out of the Japanese cars market. It could be a real game changer, and I think this is a shifting of the sands, just like the Mahindra is a shifting of the sands in the utilitarian bucky market. So is this in the mid-size bucky market, together with the Julian, which we're getting next week. These guys are coming out swinging, I must say. Coming out swinging hard. Swinging hard indeed. So as I said, took it up to Pampunfontein. It was so planted on the highway, it wasn't even funny. The active cruise control worked well, but as I came into Malmesbury, it started slowing itself down for no reason. I don't know if I was pressing the wrong button or what, but other than that, handling and acceleration and comfort on the highway is really, it's Q5 level. Electric seats, downhill assist, various traction modes. Really does have you covered. So this is the kind of car I'd definitely buy new and keep it in, and get the extended service plan and warranty and whatnot, just to cover yourself and enjoy the ride, to be honest. But this is a very, very enjoyable vehicle. It grows on you quickly, this car. And you get into the thing, Chinese car, a little bit suspect, but you know, it's not that whatsoever. It actually feels like a bit more of a complete package than the P series. The P series is really good, looks good, but it's a little bit underpowered. But this thing, you can't say this is underpowered. This is perfectly powered. Just love the sound of that engine bubbling away in the background. So for overtaking on the highway, it really is a joy. So downsides, actually another thing I like about this car is if you change the vehicle settings, it remembers it, so you don't have to go through and change everything every time you get in the car. So if you don't want all the tech on, you can turn it off and the car remembers. If you want all the beeps, if you want all the assistance, it's there for you as well, which I find to be a real step in the right direction. Class leading windscreen wipers. This feels pretty well made. That's alright. It's always good to feel the buttons. The touchscreen is probably, I'd say, good. It's not first class. Sometimes you got to press it twice to get a bit of action, but it's got all the functionality that you need. So who's going to buy this car, ladies and gentlemen? I can see it being a popular family wagon, and I think guys are going to like it as well. It's got that personality. When I get in a car, the first thing I think is this a boy or a girl car? And this definitely, with this kind of performance, it's definitely a dude. It's raunchy, it's in your face, but still elegant and stylish. So it does tick a lot of boxes, the Q7. You could put a set of all-terrain tires on here and do some grade 2 off-roading, no problem whatsoever. So all in all, the new Haval H9, sure. If we take, nobody can tell the future, so nobody can say what this is going to be like in 10 years time, but if let's say if you take reliability out of the equation, I'm going to give the H6 a 9 out of 10. Drives well, brakes well, lots of space. It's the cheapest for what it's offering, and it's one hell of a package. Let's see how it does through this tight hip, and let's check the handling. A little bit of tire squeal, but nothing too untoward, and then you just boot it out and it's all there. One thing I can say, that the new Haval H6 is the most fun SUV that I've driven in some time. I'd say at least over a year or two. And this tells you what Forester is missing out on with not having the turbocharged version of the Forester. They really have missed a trick in that regard. As I say, that there's the classic Forester. I mean, the looks on there is brilliant. So yeah, I think the Japanese and German competition are going to step up and look at this product, and on price they're going to. It's difficult to compete with this. I mean, I don't see how they're going to make any profit margin if they have to slash 100k off their price. But one thing this doesn't have is that long-term track record. But I guess they said that about Japanese cars in the 70s, and look where they are now. So I look forward to getting the baby brother of this next week, the Julian. So keep him peeled, keep him tuned, and we'll catch you next time on Africa Sideways. And don't forget to hit that thanks button below if you want to donate to Big Six. Put a bit of Tom in the scone. Catch you next time, Africa Sideways. Peace.